Ready?
Any questions before we start? I want to welcome you to the Dickinson City Commission Forum, sponsored by the Dickinson Area Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee and the Dickinson Press. My name is Harvey Brock, and I will serve as your moderator for this evening. We have 3 candidates for 2 positions open for election, and the candidates are Clayton Altman, Shirley Dugard, and Scott Decker. The candidates will begin with a 3-minute opening statement. The order was determined by a drawing prior to the start of the event. After the opening statements, we will go to questions submitted in advance and finish with 2 minutes closing. We will begin with Clayton Altman.
All right. Very good, thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Commission Forum. First of all, I want to thank everyone involved in organizing this candidate forum. It's a great chance for the voters to meet the candidates and hopefully to make a good, informed decision for the June 10th election. Let me start by saying it's been an honor to serve as a city commissioner for the last 4 years, and it's a very exciting time in the history of Dickinson to be on the commission and be in this community. 4 years ago, when I ran for office, the City Commission was considering 19 major projects that totaled about $80 million. And it's funny how that looks like the good old days. That's a Monday meeting at the City Commission now, 19 projects and $80 million. Right now we're faced with multiple projects and 5 times that amount, over $400 million in new projects are on the table. Like I said, it's an exciting time. Our communities experienced unprecedented growth. In fact, we're the 2nd fastest growing micropolitan in America right now. And the growth has put a strain on our city budget, our housing, our rental market, and it has employers scrambling to fill positions. And as a commission, we've taken some very serious steps to plan for this growth. Part of that is our comprehensive plan, also known as our roadmap to 2035. And it's difficult to get where you're going if you don't have a roadmap. This plan has served as a basis for the commission and city staff to help our city grow and meet the needs of an ever-changing community. It's also this planning that really has set our community apart from others and has helped us make a very strong case to the state legislature to secure funding for the many projects that we have going on right now. We've been very proactive as a city commission with the paramount goal of really keeping Dickinson, well, Dickinson. We don't want to lose our quality of life in this community. Each of us, I know, has experienced growing pains and will continue to do that as our community expands to meet the growing population. In 2010, to give you an example, the census had our population at about 18,000. It's now 4 years later and we're over 25,000, almost a 50% increase. And by 2020, we could be over 40,000, which is ironic because in our 2035 plan, that was our planned projections for 2035. Over the next 4 years, we can see increases in our population of over 6%. It's an incredible amount of growth for city staff and the city commission.
Shirley?
I agree with everything that Clayton has just said, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Thank you again, the Chamber, for the Government Affairs Committee for hosting this, and hello everybody out there. I'm Shirley Dugard, your current City Commissioner. I'm married to Richard for 50+ years. We have 4 married children. 3 of them live here with their families. My husband and I previously owned Dakota Church Furniture for 42 years. I'm a retired employee of CenturyLink of 33 years. And I'm part owner right now of Home and Land Real Estate Company. We have 19 agents and 2 office administrators. I am your voice for the community. And I listen. My best skills I have are listening. My 33 years of knowledge in real estate is my asset for planning and zoning, for construction, housing, and property taxes. I'm very involved in the community, so I know the needs of the community. We have to have our needs as a priority over our wants, and we do have many wants. Managing our growth and providing public safety has to be number one. And then people will want to continue to live here and move here and continue working here. Public safety entails police and fire protection, water and wastewater treatment, and we must plan our growth around this. We cannot annex and keep growing without this infrastructure. Education, health services, transportation, air service, recreation, those are all recruitment and retention to the city. We need all of those also. I take my position here very seriously. I've only probably missed 15 minutes in 4 years as being a commissioner for the meetings, and I do listen. I'm always available for you. People can email me, they can call me, they can walk in my office, and I'm always listening to your concerns. Again, I am your voice.
Scott?
Before I begin, I'd like to thank the Government Affairs Committee, the Chamber of Commerce, Dickinson Press, and the members of the community for being here tonight. My name is Scott Decker, and I'm running for City Commissioner. I grew up in Dickinson. I graduated from Dickinson Trinity. I'm a graduate of Dickinson State University. I'm a retired U.S. Army. I'm retired from the U.S. Army, and I've spent the last 10 years of my military career as the Southwest Recruiting Station Commander for the North Dakota Army National Guard, located here in Dickinson. As a retired member of the military, I am afforded the opportunity to now concentrate on things that matter most to me, and that is my family and this community. I have been married to my wife, Shelley, for 24 years, and we have 2 children. You may know Shelley from going to ND Pharmacy, where she works. Our son, Jake, is in his last year of pharmacy school at NDSU. Our daughter, Elena, just graduated from Minnesota State Technical College Fire Science Program and will pursue a career as a firefighter. She's also a certified EMT. Dickinson has now become more of a focal point than even 2 years ago to this economy that the nation is dealing with, and we're seen as the opportunity for a lot of people. We're one of the fastest growing cities in America and a regional hub for all types of commerce. With the expansion comes challenges and the welcoming of new growth while keeping Dickinson, as it always has been, a great city to be born in, to grow up in, raise your children in, and retire in. One of our biggest challenges is the heavy influx of new residents, all seeking opportunity in a stagnant economy. They hear over the national news on television, radio, that this is the place, Western North Dakota, opportunity. And they come here just like the pioneers of old. They come here seeking that chance. Well, we have to be, as a city, that model, that community that embraces them and shows them that we're ready. We have to be that community that sets our sights on crafting the model city of the Northern Prairie. So once these new pioneers arrive and they find their good housing, and they find that job, and maybe start a new career, and once they get settled down and they look around and they go, yes, this is where I want to live. This is where I want to bring my family. This is where I want to set down my roots. There's opportunity for entrepreneurs in the commercial sector to bring stores here that we used to drive hours to pursue. Now we can have them here. We can keep our tax money here. And this benefits our elderly and our children. It'll give this region a chance to build facilities that never existed. So I am running for city commissioner because I want to be your voice in help with the guiding the growth that is about to happen in Dickinson. Thank you.
Our first question is for Shirley. The city is expanding far faster than most models predicted and is therefore exposed to the high cost of infrastructure extensions. What do you think is the best way to fund the required public infrastructure?
I would think that we may have to go back to special assessments, like we are considering doing on 40th Street, because our city is going into debt a huge amount, almost $280 million, and in order to provide some help to the developers that are coming here, we might have to assist them. I'm leaving that up to our city administrator.
Scott, same question.
Well, I think we have to work together, not only with the people that are developing the plots of land, be it commercial, industrial, residential, and as a city, we're going to take on debt. But as the one thing I think we need to do is put a little bit of pressure on the state. What is happening to us is impacted for one reason, and one reason. We won't kid ourselves here. It's oil. And that oil impact money that's sitting at the state needs to flow back this way. And from the assurance that we got from the governor, they didn't need a special session, they're going to take care of us. I'll take the man at his word. But I think at one point, they have to look at what's happening here. And we are impacted by oil. And the state is getting rich off of oil.
Clayton?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's kind of an all of the above approach. As a city, we started out with development impact fees. That was a great way to get the ball rolling, but again, we don't have an infinite amount of money to work with, but it seems that every day we have more and more needs, an infinite amount of needs to grow our community. And in speaking with Rich Wardner last night in front of the home builders, I would echo some of Scott's sentiments that, it really does need to fall back on the state. One of the reasons that Dickinson's been able to secure the amount of financing that we have from the state is because we're one of the few communities that has a comprehensive plan. We know where everything needs to be built. We know what infrastructure needs we have. And so when we approach the state legislature or the governor, we are actually asking for concrete things that we know that we need in order to build our community. And that sets us apart from a lot of others. And it is going to be paramount that our city manager, our mayor, our commission, that we get in front of the legislature and that we stress our needs even greater and that we secure the funding that we're going to need. As a community, we can't do it on our own. We can't expect the developers to do it all on their own. We can't rest it on the shoulders of our citizens.
The second question is for Scott. The city consistently has 10 to 12 job openings available, everything from police officers to refuse haulers. What do you think is the best way to attract applicants for open city positions?
That's kind of right in my wheelhouse. I used to be a recruiter. I know the problems that the city is having recruiting. It is the whole western part of the state. As a recruiter for the military, I had firsthand experience in that, trying to get qualified individuals to fill the Dickinson unit so that they could work at an optimum level. And that's what we need to do as a city. All our city services need to work at an optimal level, and we have to find these qualified people. And some of it is going to be in a benefits package, I'm sure. We're going to have to make adjustments. Some of it, of course, is going to be salary. Because when you look around what everybody's getting paid, everything is increasing. I have family in town here. They all own businesses. Everything has increased. The compensation has increased. And we're going to have to look at that. That's hard choices that are being made. And down the road, when it tapers off, we might have to make adjustments back. And the new people that are hired are going to have to understand that it fluctuates with what's happening in the economy. But I think we're going to have to look at the total package. We're going to have to look at maybe there's some housing options, maybe there's going to be some salary options or retirement options, and stress that. I know it's tough to have people at a younger age that are just starting a career put into a matching 401k. But we need to stress that is a huge benefit if you can get that. And the health care and other options for employment.
Clayton, same question.
Sure. As a city, we're facing the same problem that every other business in southwest North Dakota is facing, and that's that we're at a 1.7% unemployment rate. And so jobs are not hard to find. And so as a city commission, as a city, we've really stepped up. We've secured housing units so that as we gain new employees, that we have a temporary place for them to land that's affordable until they can get on their feet. We have increased salaries. In fact, we've increased salaries by a greater percentage in the last 2 and 3 years than we had probably over the last decade. all of those are issues that are faced by every business. But I'll say, here's what our strong point is, and that's in our HR person, Mrs. Nominuk. She's been faced with some very great challenges of hiring employees, and it would be very easy to just start hiring and hoping that they stick. But what she's done is she stepped up her game and she keeps with the qualifying process. And where that really hits home is her retention rate of new employees is really second to none. It doesn't matter how many you hire if you can't keep the employees. From our city manager to all the executives on the team, they've each come up with ideas of how do we retain our employees. I think we will get where we need to go with filling the positions, but it doesn't do you any good to fill the positions if you're not retaining the employees, and that's where we have our biggest strength right now.
Shirley, same question.
I feel that the state needs to provide more funding for affordable housing. Affordable housing is the biggest factor here because there are a lot of people that don't want to buy a home if they're on a 2-year contract. I just gave a talk at DSU regarding housing and the different options we have. The Heritage home is like for 55 and older. That would be one of the incentives we could offer. And then we have other apartments that are income-based. If we would get enough of those up and then compare those with what people can afford, they might want to move here. Because we have calls all the time for rentals, but when they hear $1,600 for a 1-bedroom, they can't afford that. They can, if you pay that type of rent, then you might as well buy a $250,000 house. I can sell you one for that price with everything included.
Next question is for Clayton. Quality of life investments like the WRCC, the BAC, library, etc., have helped establish Dickinson as the best city to live in western North Dakota. What other quality of life projects do you think the city should be investing in?
Sure. You know, and we've been very fortunate, and in years past when those types of projects like the West River Community Center, like the Badlands Activities Center were first dreamed up, they seemed like an impossibility. But they did come to fruition, and our community is better and stronger for them. So some things moving forward that I think we need to work on. I think we need to revitalize our band shell in conjunction with the Veterans Memorial. It's underutilized and it's in disrepair. I mean, I think that could be, you know, a focal point of the community. I think expanding and establishing fairgrounds. We are in western North Dakota. We should have the facilities to be able to hold those events. And then in the revitalization of our downtown, if there's ever been a chance in history for us to get ahead of this and have the opportunity to revitalize our downtown, this is the time. I think when we revitalize our downtown, we really need to start working on a community arts center where we can have artists, plays, music, events that are for everyone in this community. We don't have a cultural center in Dickinson that is accessible and can hold those types of venues. I think as outlandish and as big of a dream as it seems right now, that should be our focus moving forward.
Shirley, same question.
There are a couple of things that people have asked me to pursue, and I know Vicki Steiner, one of our legislators, was working on a walking trail. Like, people would like to have a walking trail around Patterson Lake, somewhere where there's nice scenery so that they can ride their bikes out there or walk around them. That's one of the things that we are missing. You know, after having been working in Minnesota for 12 years, commuting back and forth to Dickinson, that was one thing I missed here. I'm fortunate because I live by a park. I can walk around the park, and so do you, Harvey and Cindy. But not everybody has that opportunity. So, and then dancing, we really don't have a place for people to actually, you know, even adults, just to go and dance. Because dancing is probably the best exercise you can have. And I don't see any halls around here that, you know, other than the private clubs that have weddings and parties and whatever. But kids like to dance.
Scott, same question.
Well, with talking, excuse me, talking with community members, one of the main things that constantly comes up, and we have a prime example of it right there, is the trail system. Over and over, runners, bikers, just walkers are always asking me, where's our trail system? Why don't we have a trail system to connect these subdivisions to each other, to connect out to Patterson? Improving our park system, picking up some of the, with the trail with that, with the park system, maybe developing a few more larger parks. I'm in total agreement with Clayton on the fairgrounds. We're Western North Dakota. We should have a fairground. And one of the promising things that I think that is going to be coming here culturally, and they presented a couple commission meetings ago, was with the Theodore Roosevelt, possibility of the Theodore Roosevelt Library, his actual presidential library. I think that would be a huge impact, and I think the city should support that wholeheartedly. That would definitely put us on the road, you know, on the map, besides just the oil and some of the other economic booms that we're having here. But I think the key is working as a commissioner with the park board and developing some of these trail systems, the park systems, helping out with the fairgrounds when needed, and developing a little bit more of the cultural aspects downtown, and maybe even a civic center eventually.
Next question is for Shirley. Residents' expectation for city services, police, water, snow removal, etc., remain consistent, and some prefer an expansion of city services. Would raising property taxes be an option for you in order to provide the level of service some residents demand?
No. I think that we should raise the sales tax, if anything, 0.5%. That would provide us the extra money coming from everyone, not just property owners. If we raise the sales tax, we would be able to do our downtown development project and provide services for many other things that we don't have the money for now.
Scott, same question.
I'm against any raising of anybody's taxes. I think we need to work with the state. I do think we're going to see an expansion that we cannot avoid. The fire department, the police department, right now we're getting by with a volunteer force with the fire department. That's only going to last so long until we have a major fire. And then all of a sudden everybody's going to be screaming, why don't we have a full-time force? I think that needs to be looked at. I think the police department, they're stressed probably, they need some more people, but raising taxes I don't think is the answer, and that goes back to the working with the state. There's some other options, like Shirley said, with the sales tax, maybe hospitality. Well, hospitality is a different issue. They have to use that money for other things. But we have different options than just raising people's property tax. I think people are taxed enough.
Clayton, second question.
Well, in the greater scheme of things, first of all, raising the property tax isn't going to cover the issue. If you think about the property tax in general, the amount of revenue that the city of Dickinson raises through its property tax is barely enough to cover the expenses for our police department. So it's not our major cash flow for covering the expenses for our community. So even if you would increase it by 10 or 20%, it's going to make very little impact on the whole budget. So we do need to, and we've done a good job of being proactive and taking advantage of any federal and state program that we can use in hiring police and fire. We've been very proactive in securing any finances we can for expanding our infrastructure. But this is an unprecedented time, unprecedented expenses, unprecedented growth. We have grown as a community in 4 years, what takes some communities a decade or more. And so, again, stating our case to the state, to the legislature, and freeing up the money. Right now, everything is resting on the shoulders of the hub communities. It's not fair to the hub communities. It's not fair to the citizens. We really do need to see the state funding come through.
The next question is for Scott. Many citizens are finding it hard to find housing they can afford, even on 2 incomes. This also has widespread negative effects on business and organizations in town looking to find employees. Do you have any ideas on how the community can manage this squeeze-out effect?
I have talked to the people down at the senior center, and I understand the pain with the amount of rent, how it's going up. I think eventually we're going to see it taper off because it is a supply and demand, how the economy works. But right now they're feeling the pain. So we have to find ways to bring the housing more in line so they don't have to work 2 jobs. You shouldn't have to work 2 jobs as a senior citizen just to make ends meet. You should be able to enjoy, I guess, the sunset of your life. And working 2 jobs isn't that. Now, I mean, there's some people that enjoy working. Don't get me wrong, but I think the answer again is threefold. We have to work as a city with community developers. We have to work with the county and the state in getting some monies in here to provide some of the, like Shirley said earlier, some of the monies for some of this affordable housing, and it'll work out. I know that's not the best answer for right now. They're feeling the pain right now, but it is supply and demand, and we got caught up. I think the city has done an excellent job moving along and getting as much housing, affordable housing, in place, so we're not pushing our senior citizens out of the community. They're very important.
Clayton, same question.
Sure. It is simple supply and demand. As a city commission, we have endorsed, approved, and gone after every low-income housing and senior housing project that has come before us. I can't think of one that we've denied. I can't think of one that we haven't pursued. As a city, we really lost out on 1 year, if not 2 years, of construction. Through, some issues with a city manager. And so we've been able to free up that process. I think that, Shirley was a champion for we have got to get ahead of this. The way that we do our city engineering, the fact that we've hired a community planner, the fact that we have a comprehensive plan, I think in 2014, 2015, you are going to start to see the supply of houses increase. You're going to start to see a number of new apartments come online. You're going to see more low-income housing, more senior housing coming online. It's just unfortunate that our population expansion and the amount of houses that we can build in the small construction season window that you have here in Dickinson, short of moving in, thousands of FEMA trailers, there's nothing except rolling through the process that's going to get ahead of it right now.
Shirley, same question.
Well, the main thing is we can't afford to raise taxes for the people that are 75 and older. I know there is an exemption. They go by your income, but some of the people that were on Social Security, they're not even near, their checks aren't near of what they need to live with the cost of living today. I think the state needs to take care of the school mill levy, provide enough funding back to us so that we can keep the property taxes down and these people can stay in their homes. Not everyone's going to, qualify because they do have some other incomes coming in to be on an exemption, but they really, we need to keep their taxes, equal so that they can afford to live here. And we don't like to force them out to have to move into a rental. Rentals are private enterprise. I own a couple of rental homes, and I would not want to be told how much rent I could collect. I'm probably the best landlord in town because everybody wants rent from me, but some of the people that came here, they came to make money, and so they built all these apartment buildings, and it seems like we still don't have enough. We have to get more of them until they will actually bring their prices down.
Next question is for Clayton. Due to the increased population, our community need for emergency services has also increased. Do you think that the level of funding is appropriate as it stands? If not, how could you change it?
Sure. Again, we are in an unprecedented growth cycle, and for years we've been able to rely on volunteers in the fire department. We have been able to, hire police officers. We're getting behind the gun on that one. And, as we look forward to building our new public safety center, we will have the space to house the employees. The biggest challenge is going to be securing those employees and securing the amount of money that we're going to need to be able to fund those employees. There's only so much that the city of Dickinson can do with its budget and with its budget constraints. We are, as I keep, and it sounds like a broken record, but until we are able to secure the amount of state financing and funding that we need, there is only so much that you can do as a city and a commission. We can't make money out of nothing. It has to come from somewhere.
And I would agree with Clayton. The taxes we collect today, and I know that our mayor and some of the other commissioners repeat this over and over, but the taxes we collect are only enough to pay for the police protection that we are provided with. So the rest of the money to pay our employees and everyone to keep moving forward for all the expenses we have, we always have to come up with a new idea, and once again, that is our city administrator's job, and I don't envy him. We just have to approve him, but he's the one that has to plan out on how he's going to handle it.
Scott?
I agree that we're going to have to increase services. We're going to see an influx of a great amount of hardworking people, but with that is also going to come the unsavory people that are going to try to make a buck too off of other people's misfortune, and we're going to need law enforcement there. I know the state stepped up. They've added more highway patrolmen out here. They're adding more into the western part of the state and into some of the smaller communities like Kildare, Watford City. But what it's going to take here is not only the police department, but we're going to have to look at the ambulance. We're going to have to look at the fire services. Even the stress that's going to come up on some of the public works, the garbage and picking things up like that. And like Clayton said, I know the city can only do so much. They just can't make money, fall out of trees. So we're going to have to work with the state. The state's going to have to understand that they are benefiting from the western part of the state, and they need to make that money flow back here so that we can keep that money flowing towards the state. Because if it gets to the point where nobody wants to live here, then that money dries up.
Next question is for Shirley. A concern of longtime residents is the increased crime and illegal activity as a result of our growth. What would you say to those citizens who are concerned about those issues?
You have to help protect yourselves. The majority of our people moving here and working here are wonderful, but with the growth, you are going to have also trouble coming with it. The drug situation we have here right now is very complicated, and our police force and task force, all of them are working very hard to keep it under control, but it's just something that we have to accept. We just have to protect ourselves more. Lock your houses, lock your cars. The days of leaving your keys in your car or your house unlocked are over. So you have to prepare yourself as an individual and help us be a neighborhood watch. If you see something in your neighborhood or in your offices that doesn't look right, just call our police force and they will take care of the situation.
Scott, same question.
Anytime there's prosperity, there's always a criminal element that's going to follow, and they're going to try to take advantage of the prosperity. And what we have to do as a community, much like what Shirley said, is we have to be more self-aware. When I joined the Army and moved down south to Georgia, I was a North Dakota boy. I didn't lock my doors, left my car open. You only have to do that one time. I still, every night now, from 10 years of living in Georgia, check all my windows, check my doors. It's just a habit. And that's what the city's you have to self-police, and you have to be aware of your community, and you have to watch if there's something happening that's not normal. We all are in this together as a community. We want this community to prosper. At the same time, we have to take care of each other. We have to look around. We have to take care of each other. We have to help out the police force. If something's happening, you know, I'm not saying that you have to just go snoop looking around, but you can kind of tell when there's trouble. And I think we're, you know, partnering with different agencies to take care of some of the problems that are coming into the community. So.
Clayton.
Yeah, it's going to take the whole community, and the vast majority of new people moving into Dickinson are just hardworking, trying to get ahead of the game, and it's a very small element. It's funny that as the economic boom started to happen in Dickinson, we saw our first spike in crime was really the same people that constantly been arrested in our community over the years. In fact, when you read the police blotter, a lot of times it was longtime Dickinson residents that were, you know, just now getting caught. I think the biggest thing is that it does take a village to help the police department. Two major programs that have come back from the last oil boom: Crime Stoppers, where you can anonymously call in a tip if you see something going on. The other big one is the Neighborhood Watch, and I would encourage every neighborhood to set it up. I think it's an important program that shouldn't have gone away, because while we may be seeing more crime statistically now, if you look at our population and the amount of crime per population, we aren't seeing huge and tremendous spikes. Fortunately, our police department's very proactive, and again, it's going to take the entire community to be just as proactive.
Next question is for Scott. What are the top 3 things you would hope to accomplish while serving as city commissioner?
Top 3 things I would like to accomplish while being a city commissioner. 1, keep taxes where they're at. If not, lower them. If we can help out the citizens here in Dickinson by securing funding by other means than them paying taxes, I think we should look at that. 2, I think long term, we're going to have to look at not only cultural type centers or something. Down the road, I think we're going to need a civic center of some sorts, a bigger venue. And I know people shake their heads and don't like to see that because it costs money. But again, partnering with the state, partnering with the city on some of the taxes that are collected, and partnering with the industry that's here. We all have to be partners in this, and at one point we have to build a community that people want to live in. The rec center is a great example. The ice skating, the exercising, and the baseball complex, all that. And that's a partnership. And that's something we need to work on, not only from the community standard, but the industry standard here, too, that is prospering. And the third thing, we really need to look at our education. We're going to have to keep building as we expand. I know they just approved a middle school, but the reality is we're going to need a high school. We're at that area where Bismarck was 25 years ago, and they had 3 high schools, a private and 2 public. We have a private, we have a high school, but we're going to keep growing.
Very good. Yeah, 3 primary goals. First one is to really get back to a balanced budget and reducing debt. It wasn't, when I first came on in the City Commission, Dickinson historically had run without any debt. We paid our bills as we went along. We ran our checkbook like you run your checkbook at home. Extenuating circumstances, experiencing the growth that we are, has thrown that out the window. And that would be my primary goal, is to get us back on budget and reduce debt. How do we do that? Again, we're going to have to secure more financing from the state. There's only so much that the citizens can do. We need to keep taxes in check. That would be the second thing. And then probably my most important primary goal is to retain the quality of life, quality of place that we all enjoy in Dickinson. I'm looking forward to the next couple of years as more retail comes online. You know, we've got the largest Menards in the world right here in our own backyard. I think you're going to be amazed when you see the next influx of retail opportunities that are going to be in our community. I think you're going to be amazed at the number of projects that we're working on. Things like the State Street overpass. We've needed that for 30 years. We're on the cusp of a lot of major improvements coming online in this community. I hope you guys will stick with us and see it all come to fruition.
Shirley, same question.
I would like to see our taxes stay in check. We need to go to the state so that, you know, just keep going back and asking for more help, because we need our people to be able to live here, and we still need our monies for other projects. Managing the growth is another important factor. We need our fire station up and going because we only have one. Right now we need one on the west end. So that'll open up. We've hired 4 full-time employees now in the fire station. So once we get that up and then get 911 moved over there, I'll feel safer. Snow removal. I don't know what we're going to do, but we have to come up with a plan.
Next question is for Clayton. Do you feel that the healthcare services in our community are adequate? If not, what do you feel are possible solutions?
Sure. You know, again, with the expansion, and for all the questions that we've had this evening, we've really been focusing on all the negative issues that we face as the City Commission. I think it's important that you take a step back and look at some of the positives. We have Catholic Health Initiative's largest infrastructure project this year coming online right here in Dickinson, a new hospital, a new clinic. We have the brand new Sanford Clinic. If you drive to the west side of this town, you can't help but be proud of the new healthcare facilities that we have, all made a possibility by the expansion of our population. This would have never happened 4 years ago, 10 years ago. Our hospital was dying on the vine. I am looking forward and I'm excited about the healthcare opportunities that we have coming in the future.
Sure.
I agree with you, Clayton, and we also need more assisted living. Nursing homes are full. We will have to add on to our nursing homes, but the biggest demand right now is like another Evergreen or assisted living, like Benedictine Court or Park Villa. Those are things that we need also in addition to our hospital, which is going to be beautiful, and the clinics, both clinics, existing clinics. We never have enough doctors. So now we got to start recruiting the people to work in them.
Scott, same question.
I think that the healthcare services here are amazing for the size of community we have. We're going to have this amazing hospital go up. We have this huge new Sanford Clinic. We have a helicopter sitting over there, the Spirit Lifeline, and it first time that people have access to that kind of care. I think we have to constantly partner with agencies that can, like Shirley said, with our growing population, we're going to have more people that need Alzheimer and dementia care. So we're going to have to need another country house and probably another Evergreen. And we can partner with organizations to bring those online to take care of our elderly. And and just constantly promote programs through our rec center for just a healthier life, that people can go out, exercise, keep promoting that, and use that to to help. But overall, I think our healthcare services are great in this city.
Next question is for Shirley. What do you feel are the biggest challenges to the farmers and ranchers in our area with the recent boom?
The oil industry? Actually, it's roads. Our roads are in horrible shape. They're trying to perfect them, but it takes a lot of money, and the hard winters, long winters we've had, it seems like every time I go out in the country, the roads are in terrible shape, even if they're grading them, I mean, constantly. So, and that is one thing they need to get back and forth with their grain. And I think the other issue is what they're fighting now as far as grazing.
Scott, same question.
I would say there are issues. One is the road system, and we're going to have to partner not only as a city with the counties and the surrounding counties to help alleviate some of that issues through state funding. Another big thing is also being a voice of and advocating a lot with the rail cars. Has been a big thing lately with the rail cars getting in so they can move their product to market. And other issues that some of their issues they're facing is the price of land. I know when I moved back here in 1998, I had the opportunity to buy some farmland. Boy, that looks really good right now. I know what that land's worth, and I think that's taxation for them also, and providing the services for them. We're going to, like I said, this is going to be a community effort. This is going to be a county effort. We're all going to have to partner together to work through this and take care of their roads, the dust on their crops, on their cattle. So it's we can all work and partner with industry also.
I would say the biggest challenge is the rail car system. You read in the Dickinson Press every day about more delays in getting grain out, less storage. They are up against the wall as far as being able to take over an industry that's taken over Southwest North Dakota, and that's the oil industry. And their priority as far as being shipped out keeps getting lower and lower and lower. Probably the biggest challenge from a city commission and one that we can actually affect is the encroachment of newer, bigger, and larger industrial zoning that wants to take place on existing farmland. We get requests from the city, and I sit on the county planning and zoning board, and every month we have another request to take over more farmland to add more industrial. And we as a city and as a county have it in our zoning, and Stark County Development has it in their bylaws that our primary focus is the preservation of ranch and farmland. We need to stick to that too.
Next question is for Scott. In your opinion, what is the role of government providing low-income housing? Do you feel that as a community we are currently meeting our low-income housing needs?
Again, I'll go back to supply and demand with the income, low-income housing, and I think we can partner with some of the organizations as a city commission, as a city, to encourage some of these organizations, Lutheran Services, and there's a couple other ones. They can come in and they can help us. The cities can only do so much, and I don't think the city needs to be in the business of being big housing complex managers. I think we have enough on our plate with just housing employees, much less taking care of a good swath of the community, that all of a sudden, if we have a large influx of low income, we need to partner with organizations that can help us out and work through that.
Clayton.
Sure. As I stated earlier, City Commission, we have stood behind, got involved, approved, and done everything we can as entities come in to present low-income and elderly housing. I can't think of a project that we have not stepped behind and supported. The state came up with a new program, and your tax dollars could be used to prioritize and build low-income housing. That money was gone in 6 months. It was a very, very successful program, but it was a drop in the bucket because it's not just Dickinson and Southwest North Dakota that needs low-income housing. That money was funded throughout the state. I know in the next legislative session, that is going to be a priority to increase funding for that program. I think as citizens, you need to make your voice loud and clear that that is a priority for all of us.
I agree with you, Clayton, and I don't know how we could help more than what we already are on the City Commission, but we do not have enough low-income housing because we still have a lot of retail people out there, a lot of waitresses, and those are people that we really need in our community. And they cannot afford the same rates as the people that are making $30 an hour or $60 an hour. And I don't know. I don't have an answer on how we can fix that problem other than we have to keep building more and pursuing like the Heritage House and Patterson and those places that are either for income-based or 55 and plus.
Well, that concludes our question portion of the program. Next, and we'll finish with the closing statements, again by order of the draw. Scott will go first.
I would once again like to thank the members of the community that are here, the Governmental Affairs Committee, the Dickinson Press, and the Chamber for allowing us to discuss these questions. They're valid concerns of the community. And as I walk around the community, people are always asking me why. You know, why are they doing this? Why at this time? Why wasn't that planned for? Why in my backyard? Why can't we have the old Dickinson back? And I tell them, well, cosmetically, you're never going to get the old Dickinson back. We're beyond that. But we can't lose our identity as a city or as a community. Yes, Dickinson has changed, but at the heart, we're a hardworking community. We always will be. The people that are coming here, they're coming for one reason. They want to work. And we have always been known for that. We can't lose out on the opportunities, though, when they present themselves. We must seize upon them and then stand out. We must shine as an example of how a city is run, how growth is planned, and hardworking people are appreciated. And it's time to embrace what is happening, and at the same time, let it flourish so that we all can enjoy it. From this, we can create a Dickinson we all want to live in, raise our children in, and retire in. I would like to take this time to thank you all again for the opportunity, and with your permission and your vote, I would like you to make me the next city commissioner of Dickinson so I can help, with your help, make it a model on the Northern Plains.
My experience as your commissioner has taught me to respect your opinions. I can't always please everyone. We do get along as a city commission very well. All of us have our priorities naturally, but it's always based on funding. The main thing that we have right now is all our lift stations have to go in before we can move ahead. I would like to see Dickinson keep moving slowly ahead like we have been in the past rather than jump ahead and then we don't have our infrastructure. I don't want to see any more annexing done unless our infrastructure is in, and that means police and fire protection as well as water and sewer. My mission as your city commissioner here is to work with all of you to help provide a better community. This is my home. It has been my home all my life. So other than having to move back and forth from Minneapolis and transferring home on the weekends, for 12 years I would say this has been my home for 50 probably 51 years. And I would really appreciate your support again. I thank you for voting for me in the past, and I'd like you to vote for me again on June 10th.
Well, again, I'd like to thank everyone for turning out tonight. Thank you for watching on Channel 19. These are unprecedented times in our community. And while we have concentrated a lot on the key issues that our community is facing, I think it's important to look at what we've accomplished over the last 4 years. Remember the 19 projects that were on the bill when I took office. A lot of those have come to fruition. We have a new public works building. We're adding an outdoor swimming pool to our community center. In fact, we've expanded the community center and the rec center. New wastewater treatment facilities coming online this year that will not only support our population as it is, but into the future. New animal shelter, which was desperately needed in this community. We have on task coming online in the near future a new public safety center for the fire and police. We've bought tons of new equipment for fire and police. We have a new clinic, a new hospital, the State Street overpass coming online, a truck bypass. This growth that we've seen in the last 4 years, I'll say it again, it's the type of growth that most communities see over a decade or 2 decades. And with the growth, we've got a lot more to do. And I guess I'm really proud of the City Commission that I work with and what we've been able to accomplish. City staff, City Commission have worked together towards building our community. When I ran 4 years ago, I didn't run for one term or the short term. We've got a 2035 plan of where our community needs to go. I'd like to be your commissioner and see that plan come to fruition. I look forward to your vote on June 10th.
Well, that concludes our forum tonight. I want to thank the candidates for taking the time to be with us, their willingness to serve our community. I also want to thank the Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee for putting this together, and wish you all a good night. Yeah, give them an applause.